I'ma keep it a bean. Stick to the script, every scene. This from last year, but they clean. Say to say, I'ma take something else, but it's winning team. Charlie Sheen, fam gang, the regime. I'm from Piney Green.
This been overdue forever. Asked me when it was dropping, said never. Should've made you cut the feather, but I designed it Freemason Margiela.
What's good, Shellitronnn here, the most spoke, no joke, and I'm back again with a brand new video. And today, I'm going to be doing my full 7-round Carolina Panthers draft grade videos, where I go through all 7 of our picks in the draft, and I give my grade on it. And before I get started and get into the actual grades and everything, I want to make it clear from the top of the video that for some of these grades here, it's not just about the player that was picked, it may be about the position that was picked. And for some of these grades, it may be the exact opposite. I may like the position, but maybe not the player. So keep that in mind when I'm doing these grades here. I might like a player a lot, but maybe not the position that was picked at that spot. Pick number 1, we got Brian Burns, defensive end / linebacker, an edge rusher kind of guy in the first round. There's no other grade to give but A. I mean, honestly, A+. There's no one else in this draft that I would have wanted any more than Brian Burns. You can probably argue maybe Andre Dillard, but truth be told, the best pick here wasn't an edge rusher. We got a guy who can play with his hand in the dirt. He can play standing up. He can cover. He can do it all basically for the defense. And as a whole, I think Brian Burns was easily both best player available and best player available for our team and our scheme. And there's no question that this has to be an A. Maybe an A+. It was splitting hairs there. Probably an A+ there I'll give for Brian Burns. Now our second round pick, we got Greg Little, a left tackle. And we actually traded up from 47 to 37 for Greg Little. And this is the player that may have, caused a little bit of controversy with some Panthers fans. And I'll even admit for myself as well, I don't dislike Greg Little, and I actually believe he will be a good player for us. He may start at left tackle. He may end up playing left guard this season. We'll have to see how that works out. My only issue with Greg Little and this pick is the investment. I think that Greg Little probably would have been available at 47. And I know the whole thought process of, look, if you have a guy, you want to make sure you can get him, then you go out and make sure you get him. You make 100% sure that you get that guy. I understand all of that. But with the help of, having some hindsight here, looking at how the draft shook out, at 37, it was a Seahawks pick, and the Seahawks weren't picking an O-lineman there. It just was not going to happen. So I wasn't really worried about that. But between 37 and 47, there were only 3 offensive linemen that were actually drafted. There was Cody Ford, who, was obviously going to get picked at some point during that run, so it wouldn't really matter about Greg Little being picked up by the Bills. There was Dalton Risner, who got picked by the Broncos, and then there was Elgin Jenkins, who's a center. For the most part, you don't think the Packers would have picked up a tackle instead of a center. They're probably pretty dead set on picking up a center. So the only real competition for Greg Little, I think, would have been the Broncos. And there's just no way to actually really know that on the Broncos board it was between Greg Little and Risner. There's no way of disproving that Risner wasn't always their guy on their list. And I would play the numbers here and say that maybe Greg Little would have been available at 47. I probably would have run that risk there. And what's the consolation prize? Let's just say that Greg Little does get picked before 47 and we don't get to have a good tackle in Greg Little. Then what's the alternative? We can talk about Nasir Adderley being available. We can talk about Juan Thornhill being available. If either one of those guys were a consolation prize for missing out on Greg Little, I would not be all that upset. We find a really, really good starting talent at free safety, and it could really help out our defense a lot, especially with us going to a different scheme this year. And then we would have also had a number 77 pick. So if Greg Little was available there, then we wouldn't have gotten, obviously, Nasir Adderley or Juan Thornhill. But at 77, we could have probably gotten Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, maybe even, Kalen Saunders, an interior D lineman. I know a lot of you guys don't like Dontari Poe, so, picking up a guy who's young, who did play in a FCS kind of, look, he didn't play against the best kind of competition, but he had like 170 tackles in his career, I think 16 sacks, 7 passes defended as a D tackle. Kalen Saunders is a good interior lineman. He's more like a nose tackle, a one-tech kind of guy, but honestly, that would have been a good pickup there as well at 77. So the investment is my issue with Greg Little. But as a whole, I do like the Greg Little pickup for the player. And I'd probably give this pick a B, probably a B-. I'd probably give it a B- just because I do believe he would have been available at 47. And we could have gotten another guy at 77 who could have helped out either our offense or our defense, whichever way you would have gone with number 77. So yeah, I have to give that a B-. Love the player, do not love the investment. Now moving on to our third round pick number 100, Will Grier, a quarterback out of West Virginia. This guy, I have a lot of faith in this guy. Look, for everyone you guys who thinks this pickup here is an insult to Cam, it should actually be the exact opposite for you. It should be the exact opposite. You know how competitive Cam is. You know how Cam's looking at this pickup. You know he loves that the team picked this guy up. Look, man, if anything, this is what's going to cause Cam to play even better. You think he's motivated from all the news reporters and the national media and people saying he's washed up and saying, oh man, what if his shoulder isn't going to be good? You think he's not motivated from his shoulder being hurt and wanting to prove the doubters wrong? Think about how much more motivation he's going to get from the team picking up a quarterback in the third round. If this doesn't get Cam to play as best as he can this season, there is not a single thing in the world that'll get Cam to play at his highest level this season. And that only focuses on Cam. I haven't even gotten to all the good things about Will Grier, how good of a player he is, how good of a quarterback he is. He was 4th in the Heisman voting for this past season. We got him in basically the 4th round. I mean, he was 2 picks before the 4th round started. This is a steal. I honestly believe that Will Grier was actually probably the second best quarterback in this draft class. And for him to go at number 100, especially when you consider the Patriots were talking about maybe picking him up with pick number 101, this is a steal at number 100. And if the worst should happen to Cam, if he either gets injured or he stays healthy but, you know, can't really play at the level we really need him to, Will Grier could be a really good quarterback of the future. And his gameplay reminds me and a lot of people of Jake Delhomme. And if y'all been coming to my live streams, or I guess some of the earlier live streams from before, y'all know that Jake Delhomme is still, to this day, my favorite Panther of all time. That man brought this city a championship. I don't care what anyone says. He brought rings, and he brought that Lombardi to Charlotte. And one kick. One kick took it away. I don't care what anyone says. Jake Delhomme delivered a championship to Charlotte. One kick took it away. Anyway, so I give this Will Grier pickup, I give it an A. This is the best backup quarterback in the draft, and honestly, he could have probably started for a bad team this year. I like this pick a lot. I give it an A. Round 4, Christian Miller, pick 115. I love this pickup. This pickup did a lot of different things. This pickup was basically a steal because Christian Miller, look, he was a little bit injury prone. He tore his biceps in the beginning of his junior season, and then to end this past year, he had a hamstring injury, which took him from being a 2nd round prospect to a 4th round prospect. This right here is a guy who, if he can stay healthy, will be a major contributor to the team as a 4th rounder. I think he's a player who could probably not start, but be a very healthy rotational piece who gets a lot of snaps in from the very first week of the season. Like I said, if he can stay healthy and everything. But I see him being a really good rotational piece who could maybe work his way into playing a lot more of the snaps. Maybe play a ton of the snaps. And the Panthers drafting Christian really does confirm that we will be going to a 3-4 base defense. Look, we have way too many edge guys. This is going to be a really good year, an attacking 3-4 defense that's going to be relying on us getting pressure on the quarterback and, you know, I guess the pressure maybe covering up for some of the flaws of the secondary. But in the video I'm going to release either later today or maybe more likely tomorrow, I'm going to be talking about a guy that will probably, maybe more likely than not, be signed with the Panthers, and there's a very solid reason for that. When I saw the tweet that was posted, I thought to myself, okay, this is kind of a sad situation because he was talking about the shooting that happened on the UNC Charlotte campus just yesterday, which is horrible. That hit really close to home for me. That's the school I went to. A lot of really positive memories there, and even the negative memories, they don't even come close to what happened on that campus, man. Even, I have so many memories about being on that campus, about being a student there, about loving everything about that place. And the kids, those are kids there. The kids there are going to have memories, and whether they have really great memories on that campus, the memory of that event happening is going to overshadow it for a long time, maybe forever. I don't want to get too off topic here, but that was a really huge blow for me. That hit really close to home. I don't know what to say. That was just heart-shattering for me. Honestly, that was, I did not expect that at all. It was, something's got to happen. Anyway, I give Christian Miller an A- just because of the injury history and that being a risk. Next pick, round 5, Jordan Scarlett. This is another steal. Jordan Scarlett is a guy who, I mean, maybe he could have gone in the 4th. Maybe he could have gone late 3rd. Probably not late 3rd, honestly. This is a power back who has a couple moves here and there. He will not be a guy who's going to even touch having a chance of being a pass-catching threat. He probably won't even be in there on anything longer than 3rd and 2. But Jordan Scarlett is a power back who will knock you on your back if you do not come square, if you do not have the right technique. He will make you fall on the ground. And he has a few good moves he can string together. He has a really good hop step, a really good juke step. So, I mean, I do like Jordan Scarlett a lot. Wait. Christian Miller, I give that an A. Probably an A-. This is a really good pickup for us. And finding Christian McCaffrey's, spell kind of guy, could he be a 1A, 1B kind of guy? I'm not 100% sure about that. But he could definitely be a running back who gets maybe 25, I would say maybe even 30% of the carries this season. I would not be surprised if we use Jordan Scarlett a lot more than a lot of fans are thinking. Even in the late game situations where the game is out of hand, either in a win or a loss, I see Jordan Scarlett is getting all the reps there. I can see us using him in goal line situations. I can see us going into a lot of split back situations, maybe a shotgun split, maybe even wishbone. I'm telling you right now, man, the pistol set for us is already golden. But if we go wishbone, I'm telling you right now, if the team goes wishbone, we can really do something. Cam, Christian, and Jordan Scarlett in a look, man. North. I give this one a B+. Our 6th round, Dennis Daley, an offensive tackle. This is probably going to be a lower grade for me. I see him more as a really low depth piece / camp body. At this point, we have a lot of guys vying for that 3rd string tackle spot. Between him, the guys we got from the AAF, I mean, we're looking at guys who are going to be 3rd stringers here. I don't know if I can really say confidently that Dennis Daley is going to be a big part of our offense or that he'll even make the team. It's a 6th round pick, so can I really hate on it too much? There were some guys who are still on the board here, which I understand at some level. Mark Fields, you heard me say that name a lot. He probably had some personal issues, and that's why he did not get drafted. He was a 2nd or 3rd round talent kind of guy. There were some big questions that I mentioned in his breakdown video I did that might prevent him from going on in the earlier rounds, but I did not actually believe that it would prevent him from getting drafted at all. He got picked up immediately, but those personal issues that have not been actually disclosed yet probably were enough to get the Panthers to not want to pick him up at all. So I understand that. I would have probably gone with a receiver here in the 6th round, and that leads me to number 7. Dennis Daley is probably a C for me. I'd probably give it a C, C-, honestly. Maybe even a D+. I'd probably go D+ on Dennis Daley. But, a competition for a tackle, you can probably find that as a UDFA, so I'll give that a D+, honestly. Round 7, Terry Godwin. You already see my video about Terry Godwin. If you haven't, it's above my head right here. Click that eye icon. I've already said what I said about him. He ran a 4.55 40 at the combine, and then he elected not to run the 40 again at his pro day. Maybe after watching Elijah Holyfield run a 4.77, I think it was, at the pro day, he said, you know what, coach, I'm not ready for this 40. I'm not going to run it again. 4.55 is pretty bad for a slot receiver. That's bad. And to see him decline to run the 40 again at his pro day and get a better time tells me a little bit about this guy. And honestly, at 5'11", 185, he's a slot guy who fills the role of a lot of guys who are already on our team. And I know there's a lot of people saying that, well, maybe Terry Godwin is going to be mentored by Jarius Wright and be his replacement. Keep in mind, Jarius Wright does still have 2 more years on his contract, and I'm not sure if Terry Godwin even has 4 years on his contract. I think it's a lot more likely. I don't know. It's not even out there yet. He hasn't gotten signed yet. But I'm not all that sure that Terry Godwin's going to get a 4-year deal. He might get a 3-year deal. So, replacement for 1 year, I don't know. I just don't see it happening. Think about the receivers we have on the team right now already. We have DJ Moore, Curtis Samuel, Jarius Wright. We just signed Chris Hogan. Torrey Smith is still on the team. And I do believe that Rashad Ross is going to be on the team more as a 6th receiver, but mostly as a return man in the kick and punt return game. There are people saying that Terry Godwin can be the return man, but from what I saw in his 4 years, 51 games at Georgia, he only returned 7 kicks and 2 total punts. So I'm not really all that sure if he's going to be playing the kick fielding game. Maybe, I might be wrong about that, but I don't believe he's going to be, he's not beating out a lot of guys. He's not beating out a lot of guys for that kick return game role, so I'm not really sure. I'm not sure if the team is going to carry 7 receivers on the roster. Now, I think there's a possibility that Torrey Smith does become a cap casualty this offseason, but Torrey Smith and Terry Godwin have 2 completely different roles, and Torrey Smith being gone doesn't necessarily open up a spot for Terry Godwin in the passing game, just because, Torrey is an outside guy who's a burner up the field, and Terry Godwin isn't really that, not to the same degree that Torrey Smith was or is right now. And there's no guarantee that Torrey Smith is actually going to be off the team this year. There's no guarantee of it happening. I think it might happen, but we don't know that for sure yet. It's going to be very hard for Terry Godwin to actually make the team, and I would have gone for ARW. I would have just gone for Anthony Ratliff-Williams here. I know there's a lot of Georgia Bulldogs fans who are watching these videos who watched my other video talking about Terry and talking about Elijah Holyfield. That video got a lot of views, and I know it was mainly from Bulldogs fans. You might think I sound like a hater right now, or like, oh man, you just don't like Elijah Holyfield, which I actually do like Elijah Holyfield, and you don't like Terry Godwin. Terry Godwin could be a good receiver. I think Terry Godwin could play on a lot of different teams in the league, but I think his role has already been filled on our team right now. And the thing about this channel is I'm not a cheerleader. I stay pretty objective about my thoughts on the situation and stuff. Now, if I was on a payroll and someone said, hey, you gotta, be positive about everything, we can talk about that. But the way it is right now, I'm on no one's payroll, football talking wise. So I'm gonna be objective here and say that Terry Godwin does not have a place on this team. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before, but this is what I feel pretty confident about with Terry Godwin. If he makes the team, I don't see him being anywhere better than the last ranked receiver on the roster, not getting very much chances at all on the team. And it's a 7th round pick, so it's not really a big deal. But if you can get Anthony Ratliff-Williams in the 7th round, that's what makes it a big deal. So there is still some really good undrafted free agents that we could have used our 7th on. And that's why, even though this is a 7th round pick, and it doesn't really matter all that much, I gotta give this pick a D. Overall, this is a really great draft. Later round picks, pick 100 and pick 115, that's where you make your money as a GM. Everyone can hit on a round 1 pick. I guess other than Gettleman. But just about every GM, a decent GM, can hit on their 1st round pick, and even your 2nd round pick. It's those day 2, day 3 picks. If you can, play with house money and you can win big, Christian Miller and Will Grier are gonna pay big dividends in the future. And one last thing about Will Grier, people saying we use a 3rd round pick on a guy we won't be seeing very often. But there's a metaphor I used in the comments before that I think a lot of the older fans can really feel. There's a reason why you don't go with the cheap insurance. There's a reason you don't go with cheap insurance. And I'd rather have Will Grier filling in week 5 if Cam were to get hurt than an undrafted free agent or a 7th round pick kind of guy. And we have him locked in for 4 years. I love that pick a lot. So I'll give this one an A. Maybe lean to an A- because in the later round picks, there were still some steals to be made there. There were steals all over this draft, man. That's my thoughts on it. What are your thoughts? Do you love this draft? Do you hate this draft? What would you have done differently? Do you agree with my grades? Do you disagree with my grades? And my overall grade as an A? Maybe, on a 10-point scale, it's an A. On a 7-point scale, maybe an A-, like a 92. You know what? About a 92 out of 100 is what I would give this draft for the Panthers this year. But what are your thoughts? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments below. And one last thing before I wrap this all up. If you did the content here and you want to show support, go down to the pinned comment below, click that link, and sign a petition to get the Panthers to partner with this channel. It means a lot to me. We can get a lot bigger things done on this channel. I can bring you even bigger, quicker, and more in-depth Panthers content if we got some support from the actual team. And that'd be great. It takes all of 10 seconds to do it, and it's a great way to show support if you don't want to, spend any money, that kind of thing. Either way, you already know to do with that like button.
Cheers to you, appreciate the chance. Being told y'all I been the man. Being told y'all I had the gift. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Real ones gonna recommend. Count this as another win.